DJ PK and Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach, joining us. Pablo, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
I understand I'm supposed to ask you about your whereabouts. There's a possibility that you're somewhere in Arizona, maybe on the Thunderbird High campus in short sleeves and warm weather.
They've been having rain down there this week.
Maybe golfing it in Canto.
Yeah.
Golfing it in Canto. I don't know. North Scottsdale is more like it.
Troon,
right?
the boulders.
Troon.
Yeah, right? Yeah, at the play, we're at TPC in Scottsdale.
TPC,
you're talking.
yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely, man. They got two courses there. And Greyhawk is right over there. Plenty of places to play.
It's beautiful, yeah. And actually, this cloud cover is actually nice because it's still, I think, around 60 degrees. So it's ideal weather to enjoy family and play a little golf.
Yeah, cloud cover spoken, when they say cloud cover is actually really nice, that's spoken by a true Phoenician.
Just beat up by the sun all these years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Pablo, big news, big press conference. The schedule is out, and Messi is coming to Utah. All right. Is there a part of you, a kid, is like, I can't believe I'm going to be in the same field with Messi? Is there somewhere in there, is there a 12-year-old version of Pablo who gets amazed every once in a while?
Well, I think I had that when I happened to lock horns with him back in the day on the field, which was I was really giddy. Now I kind of feel like what the players are going to feel like, especially having them come to our place. I think it's a special moment because I think it levels the playing field a little bit with our 12th man and the guys sleeping in their own beds and. The feeling, you get if you're to be able to overcome and beat a great Miami side with one of the best players in the world on the team.
Yeah, I think it's great for the fans. I can recall, this was going back many years ago now, obviously, when I tell you that Donovan was coming to play at Rice Eccles on the turf, and I thought, I got to get out and see this dude. And took the fam, went over there, and watched him play. And, you got a lot of hardcore fans who are going to go, but I think it can draw in the casual, and maybe they can find, hey, this is a pretty good time. I'm going to do this again.
Yeah, no, I think I think he's done a wonderful job of raising the awareness of the sport in this country since he's come abroad. Obviously, still scoring goals at an incredible clip. And so he still has a lot of football left in him. I think it's players like this. You're absolutely right that take the layman fan and turn him into, full-blown soccer fanatics and start following, the U.S. team and then start getting involved. It takes a moment like this, I think, to get people to come over and realize how different, how unique the sport of soccer is, and what a player of Messi's caliber can do to the game.
At the press conference, John Kimball was talking, and he was listing all the clubs that are coming in with all the star players, right? Thomas Miller's coming in, Son is coming in, Messi is coming in. He had a long list. And what I didn't hear was star players for RSL. And so I talked to somebody with the club after the press conference and said, what I didn't hear is someone wearing the claret and cobalt to compete with them. But then they went on to be pretty optimistic after we lamented the fact that you had to run out there with a bunch of kids who basically were college age in most of the attacking positions, trying to score goals last year at the start of the season. It got better as the season went along. But he was pretty optimistic that there were going to be some quality players coming in, and I wondered how much of that optimism you shared, what percent of the process you're through, because it's a process.
Yep.
And so you could probably graph the optimism and how much of the work is done. It's never done until it's across the finish line and signed, and that is weeks, if not months away. So where do you sit on that scale, knowing who you're going to have to compete against?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And I think you hit the nail on the head as far as, the areas we definitely need the biggest improvement is finding the back of the net. And I think you get that with a bit more quality and a bit more experience. And I say that for two things. One, in real time, experience and quality will get you goals now. But thinking long term, especially being a club that prides themselves on development, is there's no better teacher than having a peer in front of you showing you day in and day out what it looks like to be a prolific goal scorer. So I think a big-time player that can score goals for our team will not only help us, but it'll also help all the players around them be better, along with bringing the youth that we have a lot of great young talent behind them that just needs to, feel what it feels like day in and day out, whether it's in the locker room, on the field. And so, as a matter of fact, today we have another recruitment meeting here at 10:30. We'll go over it. And so, it's never like this big home run. It's always just biting off one piece at a time, shrinking the pool of players, the availability, what they cost. All these different things go into the equation. And like you said, it's a long, arduous process. And hopefully at the end we get a guy that all RSL fans and the guys in the locker room will be really proud of.
I think it was about 2 weeks ago, stuff that we had heard. They announced it in terms of extending contracts to yourself and Kurt Schmidt and all that. And I'm wondering, now you've been with the team about 5 years or so. So it's not exactly a fresh start, but with ownership, a guy like Steve Starks, I've golfed with Steve, and everybody knows if I golf with you, I have to hold you in high regard. I just don't go out and golf with anybody, Pablo. You know what I'm talking about. And so I've golfed with Steve Starks, and so I hold him in high regard. I don't know if fresh start, but sort of like maybe a new beginning. Is that sort of an attitude permeating the organization?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, PK. And I think there's also a shift in, we want to continue to be a development club. That will always be the case. I think Tony Beltran has done a fantastic job, and Jason with the academy and the Monarchs. And it's just such a advantage to have players that can grow into the system. And so I think that will always be a part of who we are. I think the emphasis from Steve Starks and the Miller Group is we want to be a winning club. We want to be a club that our fans can get behind year in and year out whilst we're developing players. So it's not one or the other. It's both. And so in order to do that, obviously, we need some top-end talent on the first team as well. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from last year. Given what we were able to do in 2024 and the output offensively that those players brought, along with the growth of these young players, is we need some top-end talent to make sure that we're able to achieve both things, which is very, very difficult to do. I think if you're a development club, you don't really worry about winning, and if you're a club that wants to win now, you don't really care about development. And so it's a tricky middle ground, but I think we have the people, I think we have the infrastructure, and more importantly, I think we have the vision and belief that we can achieve both things. And so the onus on us this offseason is to make sure we put a team together that is extremely competitive from day one and really learning from all the experiences that we had in 2025.
That right there, the last couple minutes to me is everything. I see how this could work, and it could be great. And I also know it's all on paper, and in sports, when everything's on paper, there's still a lot of stuff that can go wrong before the dream comes true. But
right.
The Millers are into consistency. And when PK said a new beginning, honestly, I threw up in my mouth a little bit because it seems like there's been a new beginning every year for more than a decade. It's either a new coach, it's a new GM, or it's a new owner. And there's never been a chance to get a group together, have them learn lessons. It's still not perfect. Have them learn more lessons and tweak the things that weren't perfect and grow off of that, because there's always somebody new coming in. And I thought what you said needs to be underlined so much, Pablo. The young guys are good, but they have to learn from people who are really good. And I read a bio about Pep Guardiola, and he is just a coaching legend. And you go back and he had a great playing career, and then you find out, well, he played for a coach who's a legend. And then you back that up and you find out, well, that guy was a great player. Now, I'm not going to go back into Dutch football and dig all this up, but it's the same trend as the NFL. Everyone's going nuts over Andy Reid. And he coached for Lavelle Edwards, who's in the Hall of Fame, or played for him. And he coached with Mike Holmgren, who won a Super Bowl. And Holmgren coached with Bill Walsh, who won 3 Super Bowls. And Bill Walsh coached with Paul Brown, who won like a dozen NFL titles before there was a Super Bowl. It's like none of these guys fell out of a tree and figured it out. They all learned from somebody. But I'm wondering if everybody's on the same page and if everybody could stay together long enough to learn these lessons, because otherwise you just keep spinning in circles.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think consistency is very difficult in the modern day. I think in any sport, right? I think, the way Steve views success in his time with Utah was consistency with the players, with the staff, with the front office, and they were able to achieve it. And so I think he's got a really good understanding and a feel for what it takes to be a perennial playoff team that's competing for trophies year in and year out. And in this case, whilst bringing along the next generation of players, and I think that is critical. That's something that he's emphasized with us. And so, the other part of that is obviously we lost a coach this year, and the idea is bringing in another experienced coach, one that will help, challenge ideas, give new ideas. And so I think we're trying to hit this thing on all fronts, where it's players that are really critical because they produce in real time on Saturdays, but it's also a staff that continues to improve. When there's openings, bring in coaches that are not just in their nascent stages of coaching, but have a lot of experience. And I think obviously that'll help me out, that'll help the rest of the staff out, and it also help the team out. And so, we want to keep pushing the envelope to become better in every facet of our club. And in particular, in my shoes, I want to be a better coach. And I know that if I want to do that, I gotta make sure I step outside my comfort zone and have, coaches with, the same amount of experience, if not more, challenging ideas. And I think that's how we all get better is working with people that see things a little differently, that have a bit of success in different, experiences in their lives to share. And I think that's how we become a winning club.
What do you think about the new calendar?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, PK. And I think, like DJ said earlier, on paper it looks good. There's going to be a lot of head scratching. Come the early spring, late winter, and some of these venues will be very difficult to play in. Obviously, these guys have thought through it, and I think a lot of the games will be played in cities where there's not. The likelihood isn't that there's going to be inclement weather, but we know that Dallas has some crazy weather at times. Houston has ice storms, so I think it'll be a challenge and something that, we're going to have to kind of go through. But as far as lining up with the rest of the world, it's a huge advantage from a player acquisition perspective.
Right.
We picked up Victor Alatunji and Ron Cruz, and they got to play 8 or 9 games. Right. And so it's like it doesn't make sense from an investment perspective to spend all this money on players and then get not even a third of the season with their teams. And I think that's a bigger picture perspective as to why we're doing this. So there's going to always be some positives and some hang-ups, and we just got to work through those. But I think the idea to be aligned with the rest of the world is really important if we want to be a league that contends with the best leagues in the world.
You're big on training camp, and obviously the two guys you referenced, I thought Olatunji did a pretty good job of fitting in and producing in a really short period of time. Cruz could probably use the training camp, but you have consistently pounded the table and underlined the importance of having a full training camp to really, if you're going to play your best soccer, you just have to do that. So having said that, if you got that thing planned out, you're going somewhere, back to Arizona, to Spain, to Santa Barbara. Where's the club headed this year?
We got it planned out. We're going back to Portugal, and we have 4 or 5 really good games in Portugal, and we leave about 10 days into camp that we start there in Harriman, and then come back for a week. And then we're off to California for 8 or 9 days to finish the camp and finish with a game against LAFC the week before our opener. So it sounds like a great camp. And I think, DJ, to your point about why preseason is important, I think it's more than the X's and O's. It's the feeling of being together. It's spending time together. It's building relationships that are beyond just the field part. And I think, when you build trust with another person off the field, you feel more inclined to be able to hold them to higher standards because you're familiar with who they are as a person, and that becomes really important. So I think the preseason is where we really drop in the mentality piece, what kind of team we want to be, what kind of, how we want to play the game. We want to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. If we don't get that time with those players, oftentimes we're left just talking tactics because they got to hit the ground running whenever they join the group in the middle of the season. So that's why it's really important, because I think it kind of encapsulates every aspect of team that we want to be, and those 6 weeks are really critical for that.
All right, well, I don't want to make you late for your tea time at TPC Scottsdale, so we better let you go.
He's got a meeting in an hour. He just said that.
It's just a reference to the start of the interview.
It's all work today. The guy's nose to the grindstone at all times.
This was fun, though. This wasn't work. This was fun. It was great catching up with you guys. It's always a lot of fun.
All right. Good to talk to you, Pablo. Have a good day, and we will see you down the road.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.
All right. There's Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach. Still to come, Hans Olsen, BYU, Cincinnati. Big game for BYU. Big game for Cincinnati. Big game for Utah. This is on the list. The whole top half of the league is hanging on this game.
For sure.
Texas Tech probably figures we're in the title game, but who are we playing? Right. It's a big game to Texas Tech. We will get to that with Hans Olsen next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.